All right, dentist, you spent 30 years building your dental practice. It's your life's work, your baby, and it represents millions of dollars of sweat equity. But I'm here to tell you that most dentists in the final 2 or 3 years of their career make a series of predictable and devastating mistakes that can wipe out a huge portion of that value, jeopardizing the very retirement they've worked so hard for. Having been on both the buying and selling side of these transactions, I've seen exactly where the hidden landmines are. But more importantly, I've seen how the traditional sell-it-all-once model is often just a financial trap that leaves dentists with far less than they expected. So my perspective is that there's a much smarter, more profitable way to transition into retirement. Today, we're going to walk through a real-world roadmap of the biggest mistakes dentists make when they plan their exit. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear, actionable checklist to maximize your practice's value, avoid costly errors, and understand a powerful alternative strategy that could be far more profitable than a traditional sale. Now, this entire process is built on 3 key phases. First, we need to talk about the huge mistakes that you might be making right now, years before you even plan to sell. Then we'll cover the expensive errors dentists make during the sale process itself. And finally, and this is the part that could change your entire retirement plan, we'll talk about the biggest financial blunders made in the exit strategy itself. But first, let's start with the preparation phase. Everybody wants to know, what's my practice worth? But it is kind of the wrong question. The real question is, what are you doing right now to make it worth more? The first major mistake is waiting until you're burned out to decide to sell. You're exhausted, you started to hate your job, and you just want out. So you let the practice decline for a year or two before you put it on the market. Production goes down, the team is in chaos, the technology is outdated, you are trying to sell a tired, beaten up car that's running on fumes. A sophisticated buyer sees that decline and immediately and drastically discounts their offer. You have to sell your practice when it's at its peak performance, not in its twilight. The second preparation mistake is not knowing your numbers, especially your EBITDA. As dentists, we're trained to look at total collections, but a buyer is not purchasing just your revenue. They are purchasing your profit. Your practice's value is based on a multiple of EBITDA. That's the earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. For the 3 years leading up to your sale, you must be obsessed with cleaning up your profit and loss statement. This means eliminating all those unnecessary personal expenses that you've been running through the business. The car leases, the family cell phone bills, every dollar of unnecessary expense you cut goes directly to your bottom line, and when multiplied by the valuation formula, to be worth 4, 5, or even 6 times that amount in your final sale price. And the third preparation mistake is having a messy house. This is a practice that runs on the doctor's personality, not the systems. The team members are loyal to you personally, not to the practice itself. The equipment is old, and the decor is from 1995. A sophisticated buyer, especially a corporate group, is purchasing a well-oiled machine, not a fixer-upper that depends on you being there. You need documented systems for every key process. You need a strong office manager who can run the day-to-day, and you need a team that can function without you. A few strategic investments in modern technology like an intraoral scanner in the years before a sale can pay for themselves many times over in the final valuation. Okay, so you spent a few years cleaning up your practice and it's running beautifully. Now it's time to sell. This brings us to our next phase, and this is where the dentists make their most expensive mistakes by putting their trust in the wrong people. And remember, the final and biggest mistake, the one that can determine whether you can afford to retire, is coming up. So the first mistake in this process is just hiring the wrong broker, attorney, and CPA, or even not hiring them. I see dentists try to sell their practice themselves to save the broker's commission, or they hire their brother-in-law, the real estate agent. And you must hire dental-specific teams. A dental-specific broker has a network of pre-qualified buyers and creates a competitive bidding environment that will almost always net you far more than you'd save on the commission. And you must have a dental-specific attorney and CPA. A generalist does not understand the critical nuances of asset allocation, restrictive covenants, and employment agreements in our industry. Using a generalist is kind of like asking a GP to do a heart transplant. They don't know what they don't know, and the ignorance could cost you a lot of money. The second process mistake is falling for flattering or a fake valuation. A DSO or a corporate group, they come in, they offer you a huge headline-grabbing number, and the dentist gets all excited and stops negotiating and tells all their friends how much money they're getting. You must understand the difference between the headline price and your walkaway cash. That big number is often tied to a long-term restrictive employment contract, an earnout based on future performance that you can't control, and even stock that may be illiquid or worthless. The only number that truly matters is the guaranteed after-tax cash that you'll get in your bank account at closing. A good dental CPA will help you dissect these often deceptive offers and compare them on an apples-to-apples basis. And this brings us to our final most important phase, and that's just the exit strategy. You've navigated the sale, the papers are signed, and the money is in the bank. You're done, right? Well, wrong. The biggest mistake are often made in the structures of the exit itself, and this can have millions of dollars worth of consequences. The first major blunder here is ignoring the tax man. The purchase price of your practice will be allocated between different assets like goodwill, equipment, supplies, and then a non-compete agreement. Each of these is taxed at a very different rate. A smart dental CPA and attorney will help structure the deal to allocate as much of the purchase price as possible to the lowest tax categories like goodwill, which is typically taxed at a more favorable capital gains rate. A small change in this allocation can mean the difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars in your pocket after taxes. So you must address this before you sign the letter of intent, not after. And this leads us to the final and most profound mistake that I see, and that's just the sell and walk away fallacy. Most dentists just walk away and sell 100% of the practice. They get a big check and retire on that lump sum, but they fail to do the math. You need to understand a hard truth. After capital gains taxes and broker fees and legal fees, the net amount that you take home from a practice sale is often not enough to comfortably live off of for the next 20 years of your retirement. It's sometimes a big number, but it's often not a never work again number. So what's the smarter alternative? Well, you should seriously consider the associate and phase out model. Instead of selling at your peak and walking away, think about a more profitable and less abrupt strategy. You hire a sharp young associate, you continue to earn a great owner's salary from the practice's profit for another 3, 5, or even 7 years, while you gradually scale back your own clinical days. Think about it. Every single additional year of high-level income that you can draw from the practice is another year of retirement that you don't have to fund from your nest egg. This allows you to scale down your clinical work on your own terms. You get to mentor your successor, and you ensure a smooth, stable transition for your team and your patients. Ultimately, this phased out approach often results in a much stronger final financial position than a one-time lump sum sale. It's a financially and emotionally smarter way to retire. So preparing to sell your practice isn't just about finding a buyer, but it's about meticulously preparing your business years in advance, assembling a good dental team of experts, and most importantly, strategically considering a phased out transition instead of an abrupt sale. These decisions will ensure that your life's work pays off the way it's supposed to. So take what you learned today about preparing for your practice sale and start thinking strategically long before you're ready to hang it up. Let's keep working together and let's try and make dentistry a little more fun, fulfilling, and rewarding. And please subscribe so you don't miss the next strategy, and I'll see you soon.